Hello friends, family of YouTube. Well, I just got back from about a 12-day trip in the camper, and while I was there we had a rain that lasted 1 hour one day, and during that rain I ended up with at least a half a gallon of water on the floor of the camper. Well, I recently put on solar panels on the roof. And so of course I had to drill some holes and stuff. So of course the first thing I thought of was, man, this water is coming from the roof. And when I looked up at the ceiling and I didn't see any wet spots, no brown spots or any of that, I knew that it did not come from the ceiling. So I had to do quite a bit of investigating to find where this leak of water was coming from. So if the title to this video seems like clickbait, I'm going to tell you, it is not a clickbait title. It is a true, shocking revelation of where this water was coming from. I was very surprised when I found it. I had to do quite a bit of investigating to find where it was coming from. So anyway, let me show you what I got into and where it ended up coming from. So here is where all the water was at. It was right near the bathroom door. This entire floor area, like I say, was at least a half a gallon of water here. It's hard to know how much was there because the water was standing. Of course, these carpet pieces were soaking wet. And, you know, of course, you've got water behind that wall there with the bathroom being there. This is underneath the kitchen sink. So, of course, I thought, well, maybe there's a water leak from under there. So I really had quite a bit of investigating to do. And for that much water, like I say, near a half a gallon of water in just a 1 hour rain, man, I was really lucky that I was camping, because I could have been in a situation where I could have really ruined this thing. Anyway, I discovered the water was running down this panel right here. And I thought, man, that is a weird place for the water to be coming from, because there's no water anywhere near that. And of course, it did rain, so I thought, okay, it's coming from the ceiling or something like that. But when I got to thinking about that, well, why would it run out right there when the wall is way over here? The wall is about 2 feet away. So I just kept investigating in this area, and again, water is running all down up underneath this heater furnace. So I thought, well, let me take this furnace apart and see what I can find out. And to open the furnace, you just take this little piece right here and you turn that the opposite direction that it's in, and then this gate will lift off. And here's a little better view of the piece that you turn to make this guard, this shield, come off from inside. You can see right now it's going this direction. You just take it and turn it. That's all you do. You just turn it to the opposite direction of what it is in the lock position, and that will unlock it, and it'll just lift right off. And now you're able to get to your furnace. Well, the first thing I did was I found this off switch, and I was like, hooray. So I turned that off switch, because I do not like to use this furnace. It uses way too much gas and electricity, battery, all that good stuff. And another thing was, one day I had my dog in here. I had the air conditioner on, and I came in here and this furnace was on. I did not turn it on. So no idea to this day what made that thing kick on. But anyway, I am glad that I found this switch. One of these days, what I want to do is I want to undo this gas line here, plug that off, and make sure that this thing is completely to where it can never come on again. So anyway, as I opened this up and got to looking up underneath, water was coming all up under here, and that's where it was pouring in from up underneath there. So I went outside, and I'll take you out there with me as well. Okay, now we are looking at the back side of the furnace. And if you're noticing, there's a lot of tape over it. Well, this was my solution to get me home and to prevent any more rainwater coming in there. So a little while later, after I did this fix, and I still will show you, I'm going to take this tape off here in a few minutes and I will show you how the water was getting in there and what was going on. A little while later it did start raining again, and so I come out here to watch and see what was going on. We had a tree that was right over the camper, okay? Now, I don't believe, let me see if I get, there you go. See how it's got a little spout right there at the edge of the roof where the water can run out? Well, normally water shoots right out of that one, and then there's one over on the other corner as well. Hard to see it with all the tree leaves in the background, but anyway, there's one there. But right here, for whatever reason, there was a hard stream of water that was shooting off, and it was probably bigger width than my finger. And as that water was shooting off of the roof and coming down through here, the wind just happened to be blowing at this direction and was blowing all of the water at this. Now, of course, it was hitting the entire side of the RV, but definitely water was coming in here. And let me take the tape off and I'll show you in a little better detail. Okay, so I've removed the cover that I made for it, and you can see that what we've got going on here is we have just an open screen where of course water can get in there if wind is blowing it from this direction. Also, if you were driving down the road and you had water coming off of the road from your vehicle tires and all that kind of thing, and vehicles passing by, water can easily go into here as well. Now, with that being said, water was able to go into here, and the way I figured that out is I took my flashlight, and let's see if I can get the camera for you into that position there. That is a pipe. Okay, this is just like an exhaust for a vehicle, or you know, any kind of lawnmower or whatever. But anyway, you can imagine it being a pipe just like this piece of pipe here. Well, as the water was able to go into that hole and it's running into the RV just like that, when the water came to the end of the pipe, it run down from one piece to another, and eventually that's how it got all over the floor. And the way I was able to confirm my thoughts is when I was looking into here, I could see that there was water all the way in there, and I could also see some water in here. But when I got from the inside of the RV and looked inside the furnace, I could see water in there as well. So what is the permanent fix? Now that is a good question. I will have to find out if there is an aftermarket piece that fits over this. There needs to be something that fits from this angle here, and that's because that is the front of the trailer. So if you were going down the road, you definitely need something that covers from this angle to keep water out, but you also need something from this angle to keep water out. So I have got to find out if something exists if I'm going to keep this furnace in place. But as I said, my goal is to cut this thing off to where it can never come on again. So what I am going to do is cover this up with some of that permanent type roofing material, and I'm just going to cover this up in layers, and I'm going to keep it cut off inside where there's no way it can come on. And you know, because this would be a fire hazard. So I'm not telling you that you should do this. I'm just telling you this is what I'm gonna do, and I'm also telling you it is a fire hazard. So don't do as I am doing. Listen to what I'm telling you. It's a fire hazard. So you've definitely got to unhook the gas. You've got to make sure that even pull the fuse out. If it has a separate fuse in the fuse panel for it, pull that out as well. So now I'm covering it back up just like I had it before, but again I'm using this tape. This tape is made to go on your roof. You can get this tape at your local dealership, RV dealership and camping supplier, that sort of place. But anyway, the reason I am putting the bottom layer on first is so that when I put the top layer, I have a seam going over, and that way as water runs down, it cannot go inside of a seam. So Anyway, this is not going to look the greatest on here, but hey, if it saves me from ruining my floor, I'm going to be happy. So I can also trim this down. I can take a razor knife and cut this down and make it a little neater in here, but I definitely want to make this waterproof so that I don't have that issue again. Well, I would love to think that this was an isolated incident and that I'm the only one who's ever encountered this, but I seriously doubt it. That is a very poor design. That's something my dad always said. He was an engineer and he would design stuff for the military. So anytime he would own something, if he didn't like how it was made, he would always say that was a poor design. And this definitely fits in that category. There is no telling how many RVs have ended up with ruined floors, ruined walls, cabinetry, and everything else simply because of that shield that is on the outside of this thing. So again, I will have to check around and find out if there's an aftermarket shield that I can put over that thing to make sure this never happens. But I wanted you guys to be aware of it, that it is an issue. It can be an issue. It can be a possibility. If you're wondering why is your floor rotting out and you can't find any roof leaks, well, this could be the problem. A lot of times I read sale ads of used RVs, and I see many times on there it'll say new floor, replaced floor, you know, that sort of thing, but it never talks about the roof. So it leads me to believe that there was either a water pipe issue or maybe something like this. And if you were not in there just like I was at that time, you probably wouldn't find where the water was coming from, how and why. So anyway, I hope this helps y'all out. Hopefully we'll find a preventive measure to keep this from happening for everybody down the road. So if I do find something, I will let you know in a future video. So folks, I appreciate y'all spending some time with me today. Hope to see y'all again real soon. Y'all have a great one. See ya. Bye-bye.